we're working on polishing up the 3D model import into Nightmare Puppeteer. We're trying to make it so you can import standard 3D models for use as bodies with heads that will automatically have lip sync and/or separate bodies and heads. It can do props pretty easily already. But Daz is one of the programs I really like now that I'm using for our films, and I want to make it so Nightmare Puppeteer can import these smoothly. But there's a problem because Nightmare Puppeteer heavily relies on a ragdoll. So when you import a body or a model into Nightmare Puppeteer, it's going to put a ragdoll on it. But in order for ragdolls to work right, the joints need to be oriented in a certain way. And all other programs orient them correctly. So like joints are supposed to be pointing with one of their axes towards the next joint in the chain. But for some reason, Daz all has them pointing up on the y-axis. So when Nightmare Puppeteer adds a ragdoll, it works pretty well everywhere else because you see in the legs you get away with it because they are kind of, this one's backwards, but whatever. Doesn't seem to be that big of a problem. But the arms don't work. So then what happens is that the colliders start freaking out and then the character just flies off screen. It's unusable. But it's pretty simple if you know how to use Blender or any other 3D application. It's easy to fix. So I'm going to show you how to do that. So I exported this character to FBX. You have to know how to do that. Export, blah, 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 FBX. Embed the textures. So I guess I'll just go do that. So let me click on the character. So if you're, following through here, I already exported it, but I'll overwrite it. Yes. So embed the textures. I always do the newest form of FBX. And just go accept. And it's going to export your waifu. So you can puppeteer your new waifu in your own personal nightmares. Well, I guess for other people too if you want to share them, right? So I'm going to jump into Cinema 4D. But this could be Blender or any other 3D program that allows you to rig and skin stuff. So I'm going to go bring that model in, and there we go somewhere. Okay, so there's our model, right? So what we care about really here is the joints. So I can actually turn off the character, right? We just care about these joints. So here's the problem. See how they're all pointing up with the Y? Let's make it so the Y points at the next joint. So this is not that complicated, but if you don't know how to do this, it can really screw you up. So what you want to do is, so you want to reset or turn off the bind pose, because if you try to move the joints while it's stuck to the model, then it's going to just fuck everything up. So what I'm going to go do is go in here, disable the skin. Then I'm going to say reset bind pose and turn the weight down. So now the skeleton is not going to influence the mesh. But I don't want to move it because I can fuck everything up. So in Cinema 4D it has this axis tool. So instead of changing the rotation here of the joint, it's changing the rotation of the axis. So if I go like this, now the axis is pointing at the next joint. And that's what we want. So I'm going to go, come on dude, let me point at this one. And go back to the axis tool, oops, and fuck it all up. So do that. It doesn't have to be perfect. I guess I should go in here and just actually highlight them. So really all you need to do is the whole arm. So this one has shoulder, shoulder twist, forearm, and go like that. Oops, that's kind of off. I don't know why it looks like it's rotating the bone. It's not supposed to do that. I hope it's not really rotating the bone. Forearm twist. Let's go like that. I guess it is, but hopefully that's just for visualization purposes, because I do have it in the axis mode. So yeah, you just want to go make sure these are kind of pointing at the next dude. So for the hand, do the same thing. Just point like that. Alright, so we did those. And then I'm going to go and do the same here. And I guess you could go do the legs and everything too if you wanted it perfectly, but I haven't seen any problems with the legs. Well, though, I guess the legs do get kind of weird. So, yeah, I mean, it's the same process for the legs. Just go change the axis. So, I don't know how to do this in Blender. I've only used Blender a tiny bit, but I'm sure you can reorient the joints. Axis. Do that. Do that. So, you can import a DAZ model without doing this, but like I said, the puppet will go haywire, the Ragdoll. So then you can disable the puppet in Nightmare Puppeteer by holding the R key and pressing the Reset Puppet button in the main menu, but you do miss a lot of character interactions and like cool stuff if you disable the Ragdoll. So, but if we do this, we don't have to disable it. I rendered a screenshot for some reason. Okay, so now these are all pointing down. That's what we want. And hopefully this doesn't get fucked up. So I'm going to go set bind pose and then turn the skin back on and then turn this back up. And then now the model should be good. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go export it again as FBX, trusty FBX. I'm going to embed the materials, all that stuff. Go to the desktop and say waifu fixed. So, alright, so now I'm going to jump over to Nightmare Puppeteer. I'm in the... This looks different from what you're using, obviously, because I'm the developer, so I'm actually using it, oops, not that one, inside of the Unity editor for where it's made. So, it's a little slower in here, too. So, as of right now, yeah, DAZ characters work really well if you reorient them like this. This person's missing a head because I'm still doing work. Okay. So now what we can do is go import bodies, and I'm going to say keep head. And if you use something like a DAZ model that has a jaw already, it'll like automatically fix it up for lip sync too. So I'm going to go import and then waifu fixed. And then it'll take a little bit. This is kind of slow, but that's just how it is to bring in a FBX model so you can import it. So, yeah, make human is probably the smoothest import if you use a make human model. DAZ will work if you turn off the ragdoll, but if you do this, then it works perfectly. Mixamo models work. They don't have jaws, though, so you can't use them for talking unless you put your own jaw in there. No, unless you know how to do that. So, it's still loading in our waifu. But, you know, something we tout Nightmare Puppeteers for is, like, its speed and ease of use of creating fully animated 3D stuff with lip sync. So, having to wait for stuff like this, I mean, you know, it's saving you a ton of other time that you'd have to spend to set up 3D scenes and blah, 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 blah. So, this is when you can get a coffee. Yeah, don't drink soda. Well, don't drink coffee. Just drink water, okay. So, there's our waifu. See, it didn't bring in the material for the swimsuit, just the skin. But, we say okay, and then it asks us which actor do we want to apply this to. We just want to do one. So, we do that. And check it out. There's our waifu. So we can go, since I kept the head, it kind of limits us as to what we can do. But I mean, you can add props and change some of the materials and stuff like that. Let's see if the eyes work. Yeah, you can put different eyes in there. You could put different teeth. You might have to scale them up a little bit or something. You could put hair on their hair, like that. You can tune, oh wait, that's like an anime tune shade or whatever. So, yeah, and it should just be okay now. So let's go into a scene. Just to prove to you that it works. That we took that waifu. And now there's a waifu in a scene. And they can animate. They can walk around. Something I just added. If you hold backspace, they can run to wherever they're going. So yeah, that's how it works. So yeah, see, when you have the ragdoll, you can make people die or come back to life. And also, they'll interact with other objects and other characters, like they'll run into stuff, things like that. So yeah, you can use this bouncy model now. Oh, and it automatically finds breastbones and adds nice jiggly bits to everything. And it also does it to, it doesn't care if it's a female or male. It's just like it just finds the chest bone of a model and puts bounce stuff on it. So if people ask for it later, I guess I can make a toggle if you build like a tough guy and you're like, I don't want his boobs bouncing. But yeah, so that's what you got to do to get a DAZ model fully working in here. If you don't do that, the model will start freaking out. So this is that reset button. So the way to disable the ragdoll is to hold the R key and then press this. If you just press it normally, it resets the ragdoll. It tries to fix it if the ragdoll's freaking out. But yeah, if you want to disable the ragdoll, hold down R and do this. So I have to update the manual and do a bunch of stuff. I'm just doing this for people that want to test this right now. So yeah, if you're using this and you have any issues, you can let me know on our Telegram group, preferably on our GitHub issues. So you can, but you have to make a GitHub account. So but that's like way easier. I'll put those links in the description of this video. So all right, until next time, goodbye from Imagination Rabbit.